Hey guys, it's Mitch Stokes here with On Fire Fitness. This is your Food for Thought Friday. I wanted to talk about why I decided to do this segment in the first place. The purpose of this segment is to analyze some of the benefits of some of the philosophies of physical training culture in the gym and in sport, and the way you can apply them to the broader spectrum of our daily lives. Oftentimes, success in business, academics, and our personal lives can be correlated to how we approach our daily struggles. Our challenges in training are largely mirrored in our daily lives. Today, I wanted to talk about enjoying the process. A good friend of mine that I coached with this year, he always told the kids in the wrestling room, you need to trust the process, you need to enjoy it. That's part of the struggle, is part of what makes winning and success so beautiful. And I wanted to share my thoughts, and I wanted to share a story about an individual that I knew a long time ago. I met Alex Gane in 2005 when I was a young sailor on Coronado Island. Was a young buds candidate. And the first time I met Alex, I was going through Hell Week. And he was part of the support staff that was helping us out. He would make sure that we were hydrated every so many hours, give us food, help out during medical checks during our Hell Week. He was in the class ahead of us. He was currently a brown shirt rollback. He was originally started, I believe, with class 255. I want to say probably out of a few hundred guys, there was only maybe 20, 25 guys left by the end of their Hell Week. So he was part of a select few. Alex was a funny guy. Always kept us upbeat during our stops throughout the week, whether it was in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day. He kept the instructor staff laughing, which was good for us as students. And he kept us laughing. He kept us upbeat. If there was any way he could help us, whether it was a foot rub, because our feet were falling apart in our boots, to giving us our dry socks, making sure we got plenty of food, plenty of water. He was just a great character. He was a great person to be around. His teammates loved him. By all accounts, he was an exemplary SEAL. Alex was born in July 21st, 1985 in Los Angeles, California. He was an overweight child, and by all accounts, somewhat obese. Was not an athletic kid. He liked his video games. Was a bit sedentary until one day he came home and he decided that he wanted to change something. The events of 9/11 had a large part of what had to do with his shift in his focus in life. He was a young high school student and decided he wanted to be a Navy SEAL. He wanted to do something to help people. He wanted to serve his country. And he wanted to do that in the maximum capacity way. So Alex, he put on a backpack full of bricks and just started running. He got home and his mother was home and saw that he had blood all over his back from running around with this book bag of bricks in his back. And asked, Alex, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? Well, Mom, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. I need to start training. And his mother didn't take him serious. His mother understandably laughed. Alex, I think you need to be realistic about this. You're not in shape. Those people are warriors. They're fighters. Alex didn't listen. He didn't take no for an answer. He continued to train himself, get in better shape. He dropped a bunch of weight. And next thing you knew, in 2004, he was in the United States Navy. He was a BUDS candidate. He was in class 255. And in May 2006, he finally graduated and was pinned to SEAL in May of 2006. Quite an accomplishment, coming against all odds. Even the people that knew him best, I won't say that they didn't support him, but maybe they didn't quite believe that that was the most obtainable goal for him. And most people would agree. If you have someone that's a good 50 to 100 pounds overweight and they come to an extreme goal like that, we talked about it in our last podcast with John Matalavich about having unrealistic goals. That big mountain ahead of him, of graduating a 27-week training program, and then on top of that, going to airborne school, going to SQT, to finally get that NEC pin, it didn't happen overnight. It's something that Alex had to tackle on a daily basis with himself. And it mirrors a lot of us, a lot of people out there. When they tackle a big mountain, it looks really daunting, but you're not looking necessarily at the end goal all the time. And that's what I want to talk about, is that things don't happen overnight. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. It takes a lot of sacrifice. And in today's culture, a lot of our youth and even the adults, we're all guilty. We are in a culture in this day and age of instant gratification. We want what we put into it, but we want it tomorrow. We want it today. We want it now. We want the car. We want the office job on the 25th story. We want the penthouse suite. We want the wife, the kids, the graduate degree. We want everything right now. And there's very little focus on the process and how we get there. And that's what makes it so great. That's what makes it taste so good when you have that victory by all those small little victories, those little mundane things. We're talking about the process of focusing on each step individually as its own event. One of the things I learned in Buds early on that was preached to us is take it evolution by evolution, meaning each event that we had to do, whether it was a timed run or a classroom, or maybe it was the obstacle course or a timed swim, an ocean swim, we were told if you try to look at the entire week, if you try to look at the entire day and what's ahead of you, you won't last. You have to take it event by event. Sometimes that's as simple as putting one foot in front of the other and just making it to chow. It's a 1.5 mile run to chow each way. 1.5 miles back, 3 times a day, 5 days a week. If you try to focus on the bigger picture too much, it leads you down a bad path. You lose focus. You lose your motivation. You feel overwhelmed. And it happens to a lot of people. I have a lot of friends over the years that have gone through rough circumstances, whether it was in school or a career move. They felt overwhelmed and they let that get to them. And it happens to all of us. And what you need to do is you need to trust in the process and you need to buy in. One of the things that I've found over the last several years is that there's different strength programs out there, and there's different health gurus, and there's all these other resources out there, whether it's for training or career moves or education. None of those things work unless you believe in them. You have to buy into the process. You have to believe that this is going to work. If you don't trust the process and you don't believe in it, it's very unlikely that you're going to follow through and see it to its end potential. Whether that's at school, if you don't believe that you can do it, you don't believe that you can make it to the next semester or the 4 years, you're concentrating on those 4 years, you're not looking at it the right way. You need to tackle it one classroom assignment at a time, one lecture, one paper at a time, rather than the entire eggshell. It's just too much. It's too much stress to put on yourself, and you can really get lost in that line of thinking. You need to set obtainable goals. We talked about Alex's goals being a Navy SEAL, how that sounded very, how should we say, unrealistic, or maybe it was just really aggressive. That's fine, but you need to break it down into small little goals. Like maybe it was, hey, I need to be able to run a mile without stopping. Tomorrow it's going to be 2 miles. Maybe it's 2.5 miles. There's incremental changes, small things that you can change, whether it's at work. I'm going to wake up 10 minutes earlier tomorrow so I can get to work on time, so that I can pour myself a coffee because I know I need it because I'm low on sleep. I'm going to get up 10 minutes early. I'm going to get to work 10 minutes early and try to be that much more productive. You're not going to see results in the first week. You're not necessarily going to see results in the first month. Maybe you will. If you're in a sales team and you're getting up earlier and you're getting after it earlier and being more productive in that first hour, most of us in the office world, I know I've been in that situation where the first hour to 2 hours in a lot of corporate offices, nothing gets done. Everyone's lagging into work late. They're going and getting their coffee. They're taking their cigarette break. They're getting some food. Finally, by 10:30, 11 o'clock, they're finally taking their first phone call or getting on the computer for the very first time. That's just not the way you want to live. If you want to be truly productive and successful, maybe getting up a half hour early or 10 minutes early is something that you need to think about doing. Simple goals like that. Simple milestones. You need to set a milestone. Like, let's see another example. I have a kid right now who's on the track and field team here at the high school, and he's not the fastest kid. He's athletic. He's strong. He's quick. He's a little shorter than the other athletes. It puts him at a little bit of a physical disadvantage as far as having the long enough levers to be a good sprinter. That hasn't stopped him. He drops a tenth of a second here, a tenth of a second there. He ups his squat max. He pushes his snatch. He pushes his clean. He's always fighting for that extra inch, that extra tenth of a second. He didn't think that he was going to make it on any of the relay teams this year. He was really not feeling very motivated. He felt like he was just beating his head off the wall. I told him, look, if you really want to make that team, you want to make it to leagues, you want to get to districts, keep pushing yourself, and you need to ask the coaches. Ask your supervisors, what do I need to do to be successful? I want that promotion. What do I need to do? Ask them point blank. If you have a measurable objective that you can go after, it makes it that much easier to execute. Instead of this vague, abstract thing that's in front of you, really not sure what you're supposed to do next, find out. That will help your cause big time. Tallying your weekly and monthly results is another tactic. We use this in fitness all the time. We measure just about everything. We measure our weights. We measure our reps, our sets, the amount of work we get done. We measure the time it takes to run a half mile, to one of the CrossFit workouts, like a Cindy. How many rounds did I get? What did I accomplish within that week? That helps. You can carry over that philosophy out of the gym and out of training and out of athletics into your daily life, whether it's work or another example would be parenting. Just making an effort to be more connected with your kids. If you got kids out there, for those of you that are listening, this day and age is terrible. We're always on our cell phones. There's 1.6 million deaths in a year from driving while texting in this country alone. 11 of those per day are teens driving and texting. Those are fatalities, folks. 11 fatalities a day because we can't spend enough time away from our electronic devices. That's a really sad thing. I make an effort when I'm at dinner or I'm spending time with my child. If I don't have to do anything specifically work-related right then and there, the most important person to me is in the room already, my child. I'm going to put the phone down. I'm going to put it away, either in my pocket or leave it in the car. I've been recently just leaving my phone in my truck when I go out to lunch with somebody. I try to be a little bit more engaged, less focused on other things, because at the end of the day, those other things can wait. And focus on the small, more important things that'll really help your cause. You need to learn to be patient. And in learning to be patient, you'll accomplish more. Again, people get too focused on the end result all the time. I didn't win, let's say, a match for those wrestlers or those fighters out there. The changes that you're making now aren't necessarily going to show up on the mat right away. Whether you went to one technique practice or one clinic, it's not going to drastically change the game for you tomorrow. You need to take those tools, those things that you learn, use those resources, and do it consistently. Your first goal might be, well, there's a kid in the room that consistently I'm not able to take down. I can't get a takedown on this kid. Your goal should be get a takedown. Whenever that happens, whether it's this week, next month, next year, your goal should be just get a takedown. Start there. Focus on that. You'll find that if you focus on that and you finally do get that takedown because you've been working hard, it's that much more enjoyable when you get that takedown because that's all you're focusing on. You're not focusing on whether you're in the starting lineup or whether you made it to states this year or not, or whether you were a finalist. You're focusing on those little intricate details, like perfecting that shot. I think it was Bruce Lee said, don't be afraid of the man that practices 100 different punches and kicks. Be afraid of the man that practices one punch or one kick 1,000 times. And that's very profound. I think we can all learn from that philosophy, is focusing on that one thing and being very good at it instead of spreading ourselves around and worrying about too much all the time. We become better at our craft, whether that is you're an educator, you're a business professional, you're a law enforcement officer, military, you're a coach, you're an athlete, you're a parent. All those different hats that you wear throughout the week, throughout the day, you can be that much better at them if you focus on those small, simple tasks like getting up in the morning, making your bed, ironing your clothes, making sure that your appearance exudes what you want to achieve. You want to achieve excellence. Don't roll out of bed looking like a dirtbag. Clean yourself up. Guys, get a shave or trim your beard. Clean yourself up. Don't put on the same clothes 2 days in a row just because, well, you know what, I'm just too tired to do the laundry. That's a poor excuse. And once you make excuses for yourselves consistently like that, that becomes a behavior. That habit becomes a behavior that you learn, and it gets worse, and you start making more excuses for yourself. And you become more unhappy about where you are, and you start making excuses for that too. You blame it on this person or that thing that happened to me. Focus on yourself. Focus on those small things. I think you'll find that over the next month, 2 months, a year, you'll find yourself much happier in your daily life. I think that's just about all I have for you guys today. I'm going to be trying to do this segment once a week, every Friday afternoon. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next week.